When embarking on a DIY house project, tiny or not, there are tons of things to consider when designing your space. Today, I'm going to share with you 10 tips that I used in designing my space, and hopefully that will help you. Welcome to my goat shed life, where I took an abandoned old goat shed and turned it into a cozy tiny home, because you can do anything you set your mind to, and you can live your passion. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that little bell, ding-a-ling, so you'll get notifications of future videos. In a tiny house especially, it's important that the doors actually open out. This door was a used door and fit perfectly where the old door used to sit, except that when I got it home, it was actually too short and I had to add to the top. I have 3 doors in the goat shed, all of which open out. There was a sliding barn door here, and again, the door opens out. And the reason for that is if you have a door that opens in, it takes up a heck of a lot of room. Let me show you my other door. This door was used and fit perfectly in the space, and again, it opens out. The other thing about doors, especially in a tiny space, if you're talking interior doors, pocket doors and sliding doors save a lot of space. This door takes up very little room, even though it is huge. The other thing that I use for the bathroom, I have a shower curtain that I've put up to provide the least a modicum of privacy. Number 2, take your time. Shop for deals. Look for free stuff that'll work. In a tiny house, you need fewer quantities. But even so, you could spend a bundle on something like granite countertops. Look for deals. Find free stuff. This really beautiful caneback couch cost me only $20 at a garage sale. I think the blanket actually cost more than the couch did. I pulled the cushions off because they were kind of funky and stained, and replaced it with a folded over memory foam mattress, which works perfectly and is extremely comfortable. The rug I bought at a secondhand store, and it cost me only $10. Here in the bedroom, I have one wall where I have cultured stone. I'm fortunate enough to have a friend that's in the masonry business, and as a result was able to get this for free. He even gave me the lath that I used. I had to buy the cement board that went behind it, and of course the mortar that I used to lay it. This being the west wall and it not being a very thick wall, it's only a 2-inch wall, I decided if I put the stone on it, it might actually add a little bit of extra insulation for those hot summer days. My friend also gave me the brick and the cultured brick, which is this, that's behind the wood stove, as well as the fire brick that I put on the floor. Now, granted, you may not have a friend who is in the masonry business, but you might be able to contact a contractor and find that they actually have some stuff that they're not using and would be willing to sell for a really low price, because they always end up with extras, or maybe even just give it to you if you will haul it off for them. This part of my countertop that is a cutting board was given to me. I was in a computer repair store, and this was leaned up against the wall in his shop, and I said, "What are you going to do with that?" He said, "Oh, that's what my countertop is made out of. That's just what I had left over." As a result, I managed to get this piece of my countertop for free. This starburst, which is located right inside the front door, I saw at Home Depot. And the first time I saw it, they wanted $100 for it. And I'm like, it's 9 square feet. There's no way I'm paying $100 for it. A few months later, I went back. They were on sale for half price, and I snagged it up because I loved it so much. It is 3 foot by 3 foot and fits perfectly. As I said, take your time, shop around. The thing that you think might just be perfect later on might be on sale. Also, it could be gone and you might have to find something else as an alternative. But you can find stuff you love that's not expensive if you just take your time. Tip number 3, everything doesn't have to be uniform or traditionally done. All of the countertops don't have to absolutely match. You could do different sections with different materials. Think mixed media. All the flooring doesn't have to be the same. You can change it up. Also, you don't always have to have everything traditional. My ceiling, you guys ready? Actually, a $30 piece of painter's drop cloth, and I love it. To me, it looks like clouds. I've got 6 inches of insulation above it, and we use Tech screws to screw it off directly to the metal components of the building, and ran the piece of wood down the middle to hide where it comes together. I bought this tile at a tile store. I didn't pay a whole lot for it, maybe $1 a square foot. And I bought the large tiles so it'd have fewer joints in my countertop. And I actually purchased the trim that is not even the same material, but just happens to be really close in color, that turned out to match perfectly. And I think the trim may be marble. And I purchased it at the Habitat for Humanity Restore. So it all comes together really nicely. And there again, as I said, I used the cutting board on the countertops. Tip number 4, combine expensive items that you really, really love with less expensive items. Use a lot of the less expensive items and then come back with maybe 1 or 2 things that are a little more expensive. Let me show you. This rope looking trim across here, also purchased at the Habitat Restore, was really inexpensive. I might have paid 10 cents per 6-inch piece for that. However, the backsplash tile was a little more expensive, but I needed so little of it, I did not have to buy very many square foot, and I think the look is great together. Even though the backsplash goes all the way across the entire length of the counters, I only used half of a sheet per piece, which means that if I had 12 foot of counter, which is what I have, then I would only need 6 tiles to do that. Here in my shower, I use the least expensive ceramic tile that I could find at the Home Depot. Just plain old brown stuff. However, I found these dots that I really loved, and they reminded me of bubbles. And I have a 3x3 shower. So for 9 square feet, I went ahead and sprung for something that was a little more expensive, just to add a cool touch to the shower. Another example, here in the bedroom, we put these boards up across. They're like trim boards. We used construction board for the ceiling, and then we went across them with the 1x4 trim. However, if you notice over at the closet, this really pretty trim, I bought 1 piece of it because it is a little more expensive, and by doing so, I added a really cool looking trim to my closet storage space. The floor in my bedroom actually looks like wood floor, but it is not. It is a very, very inexpensive laminate. But in here, the room is so small. Really, the only place you see or walk is around the bed, because the bed takes up almost the whole entire room. It's very small. I think this floor cost about 59 cents a square foot, and it looks really good, and it doesn't experience a whole lot of wear and tear, so it'll probably hold up for a long time. Tip number 5, be creative. Come up with something that is simple or inexpensive to make that has a really awesome outcome. Let me show you what I did. The hardware for this barn door, which is really not a barn door at all, it's just painted on, it's already here. It was on the outside of where the French doors are. And all we did was move it over to here and create this door that was very simply built. It was a simple rectangle built out of 2x2s with 2 cross boards, also 2x2s, a simple frame, and then the luan or construction board was nailed to it. And then I painted this side of the panel to look like a barn door. So it's basically a faux barn door. I even put knots in it. On the other side, on the bedroom side, it was stained. And this is actually dark cherry, but came out purple, which is fine with me because that's my favorite color. Instead of having a curtain here, you actually have a door, which if you have company sleeping on the couch or other people in here, then you can afford yourself a good deal of privacy because there is a real door there. One of my other projects, which was not necessarily simple, but definitely inexpensive, I think I used maybe 1 or 2 bags of concrete that I just, add water and stir, and some beer bottles and wine bottles that I collected and created this bottle window. I built it very early on, and when I framed the wall, I put extra supports underneath where I was going to put the window. The bottles themselves are heavy, but with the concrete it's quite heavy, so I had to add extra support to my wall. But even with that, it's a pretty inexpensive window. It's just a bunch of bottles. I absolutely love it. I love the color that comes through. Again, be creative, have fun. Tip number 6, don't skimp on the important stuff. Your electrical wiring, your gas hookups, your air conditioning. Here in Texas, air conditioning is super important. It's important to me. A good water heater is really important as well. So I purchased a shower pan, which probably cost me easily over $100, but it was well worth it not to have to put down cement board and then try to do tile and try to get the slope right. Throw that shower pan in there. A good stove to cook on also. The stove that I have was given to me for free. And we had a really hard time getting those orifices changed over from natural gas to propane, and as a result it doesn't really cook exactly as it should, but that doesn't stop good meals from coming out. I spent a good bit of money on the collar, which you can see, for the wood stove so that it was connected properly, and on the outside there's a stainless steel part of that actually has a place where you can access and clean the chimney. So, of course, a good mattress, because you can't beat a good night's sleep. So you really don't want to skimp on that. I love a deal, but there's some things you just don't want to skip on. Tip number 7, don't fret over having to change your plans up just a little bit, especially if it's going to save you some money or be a better use of the space that you have. Be flexible, but plan your projects carefully. Let me show you what I did. The space right in front of us originally, I had planned to make as a pass-through into the bathroom. And one day I got to thinking about it and I thought, what, I can't walk an extra 10 steps to get into the bathroom? So I decided to go ahead and turn this side into some really simple shelves, and these are customized to fit essential oils, and has a great spot here, scarf queen, where I'm able to hang things, keep my scarf. Over here on the bathroom side is this linen closet. There's room down on the bottom, somewhere down there, for vacuum cleaner. This gave me an enormous amount of storage instead of it just being a hallway. When I designed the cabinets, I forgot that I was going to actually come out and face them, and as a result my toe kick is way deeper than it should be. I think it's only supposed to be in about 3.5 inches, and I probably have a good 6. So the bottom line for tip number 7 is be flexible, but also plan your project carefully, so you don't end up with the toe kick being 8 inches under the cabinet. Tip number 8, especially in a tiny house, storage, storage, storage. It is so important to plan some storage spaces for your stuff, because there's some stuff you're really going to need. And even in my tiny kitchen, I have quite a bit of cabinet space, which makes me really happy. Let me show you what else I got. I bought this bed frame because it was especially tall, and I knew that I would be able to store bins underneath it very easily, which, by the way, I got at the Goodwill for a pretty good price. This shelf is the wall that divides the kitchen from the bathroom. This is the back of the shelf right here. And I love this shelf. It basically serves for us as a pantry. Made it to where the trash can fits perfectly under the bottom shelf. I purchased this table, which I think looks pretty cool, at a secondhand store. And it actually has 3 drawers, which are great for storing things. Tip number 9. Having the right tools is of the utmost importance. If you're going to do tile work, you're going to need a tile saw. It really helps if you have an electric miter saw, because you can zip right through boards like butter. And that has made a big difference in building things here in the goat shed. Tip number 10. Don't be afraid to try. You want to build something? Get out there and give it a shot. You can do it. Most mistakes can be corrected. Some are more difficult than others. If you're going to put a hole in your wall, you probably want to make sure it's in the right spot. I was really anxious when we drilled the hole for the stovepipe, I have to tell you. But it's like I always say, you can do anything you set your mind to. Do you have any tips or tricks about some DIY project, particularly building a tiny house? Leave them in the comments down below.